Welcome to Geeks Corner Reports. Tonight we're going to talk about iOS 7, and I am joined by...
Chris, Matthew,
Tyler,
and Jony Ive.
And I'm Mr. DAPs. Let's get talking about iOS 7. Today they had a wonderful keynote panel, or not panel, but presentation, and who watched it live? I think a couple of you did. What stands out to you? We're going to stick with iOS 7, but whoever wants to jump in first. You want to go, Tyler?
the UI is completely redone. It's like, well, here's from Apple's website. Like, it's literally like completely different. You can see, here's the home screen. When you first install it, that's what it looks like. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but
I like how simple it is.
It's very simplistic.
It's flat.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about flat. Do you like the flat? Dislike the flat? Anybody want to speak?
We'll just go down the line.
Go down the line.
I like it. It's definitely got influences from Windows 8, and I think that those influences are good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it does put more of an emphasis on text and things like that so that you can see information, because that's important in your phone. It's supposed to inform you of things.
Tyler.
Yeah, like everyone said, it's flat. It's definitely got some design cues from Windows 8, as Chris said, or Windows Phone 8, and Android a little bit, even some Palm OS elements, if anyone remembers that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Well, no, not like the really old one, but like the Palm phone that lasted for maybe a year and then went away, but something like that.
Jony.
I'm actually going to differ and say
Oh.
it's interesting because all of the elements are flat, but the phone itself has this weird 3D, 2.5D element to it, where like when you move the phone back and forth, there's this 3D parallax going on, where the background's moving at different speed than the foreground.
It's true, because it's almost like it's a screen on top of the space behind it.
And then when you pull up
like
the
a
settings,
multi-plane camera for a Disney reference back in the day.
Yeah.
Everybody keeps coming back to it's flat, and then I also heard several references to Windows 8. Do you think Windows 8 or this was in development first, and maybe the fact that Windows 8 isn't turning out to be as popular is because they rushed it through, knowing that there was a little bit of a competition? Is this possible? I'm not the expert in this. Who wants to be the expert?
To me, Apple's always had the black on white look. I mean, it's been a long time in packaging and products.
Spartan.
I mean, the original. I have the original iPod box, and it's just myriad font iPod, 15 gigabytes, and that was it. So I think that's more of a Apple going back to its roots as far as let's simplify this, let's make it clean, let's make it look good.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else have anything to add on that?
Going towards the who did it first, Windows 8, Microsoft, or Apple. Well, Windows 8, I think, was in development before iOS 7 was. The iOS 7 in general was probably started around the same time, but like the look of it was not being worked on until about 9 months ago. Chris and I were talking about it earlier, where Jony Ive took over the look and feel of iOS after Scott Forstall got pushed out, and we were both surprised at what he's gotten done.
Do you remember you talking about that?
Yeah, we're both surprised in what he's done in 9 months. Like, there's
Do you have something to add,
huge
Chris?
differences.
Yeah, I mean, I think going on what Tyler said, definitely in 9 months, I'm actually very impressed with what they've been able to put together. Obviously, there's some places, it's beta 1 right now, so there's places where they can iterate and grow, but for 9 months, this is quite a bit.
And then when will everybody else be able to get this?
In the fall.
In the fall, did they say exactly when?
No.
Because I keep hearing fall, but I was like, when is that?
I'm gonna place a bet and say it's probably late fall, because before
more time.
Yeah, before the keynote happened, before even Apple announced it, there were rumors that the iOS team was working really hard trying to get this pushed through, and they were hitting delays. There was a report that came out that they took developers from the OS X or OS X development team and threw them into the iOS development team, which is what happened when the first iPhone was being worked on. They were behind schedule, and so they pulled resources from other parts of Apple and put it into the iPhone section. So that's what's happening. And also, just adding on to it, the iPad OS wasn't even shown off today. Like, there were little tiny screenshots, but there was really no mention of what it's. I mean, I assume it's going to look the same, but like, they didn't show it off. There's little screenshots all over the website, but so that kind of shows to me that they're not completely done with things. Obviously, like, there's parts of the UI that I feel aren't quite finished. Like, there's parts where I can definitely tell they spend a lot of time on, other parts where they're still getting there. So
So let's move into that a little bit, the user interface. Control Center first. They explained this new Control Center. I'm forgetting the name of the guy that was doing that, but talk about it, whoever wants to.
Yeah, I have some thoughts about Control Center. I think from a usability standpoint, they've jam-packed too much stuff into Control Center. There's not a clear delineation between what switches, what's launching apps, what's changing brightness and volume. There's quite a bit of stuff going on there. They use like 3/4 of the screen versus the whole screen just to try and fit a bunch of stuff in there. It feels too crowded from usability
I'm going to show off
perspective.
what
Yeah.
you're looking at right now on my
Yeah.
camera, and he's talking about
I
this
know
right here.
people disagree with me, but from a usability perspective, I think there's a lot of people who will end up, instead of adjusting brightness, they'll be adjusting the volume and vice versa.
Or putting it to sleep, it almost looks
Yeah.
like. Anybody else?
that's the do not disturb mode. That
Oh,
button.
that's what it is.
Oh.
See, I was completely off.
See,
Oh yeah,
that's-
brightness is
'Cause
right underneath it there.
I thought it was a night theme, and then I hit it, and then.
Okay, I
turned
get it.
into that.
Anybody else on Control Center?
Uh,
Comments, thoughts?
I would piggyback off of that. I think it's a little bit confusing. Just looking at it from here, I mean, if you're getting your first iPhone ever and it has this operating system, it doesn't seem very clear what the buttons do, and I don't know if there's a tooltip pop up or anything that gives you some guidance.
Not at the moment.
And maybe that's forthcoming
It's
in
Apple.
the, in
It's
the fall
supposed to be
release.
intuitive, right?
Yeah, exactly. Their whole goal is you take it out of the box and you can use it
Yeah.
right there. So, I know it comes with the book, but that's a lot of reading to get all of that.
Piggybacking off of that,
We're
I
doing
did
lots
hear
of piggybacking.
there is. It's not even
Later we'll do
football season.
leapfrogging. It'll be great.
Go ahead.
Anyway,
Save us.
There were other reports I heard earlier on in the year about this OS was made for people who've been using the iPhone. Like the previous version was, hey, these are your training wheels. We're teaching you how to use a touch interface, how to get used to things. And now it's, hey, here's the advanced version. You know how to use it. Everyone and their mother has used an iPhone or some variation of iOS.
Has everyone's?
My mom has an
my
iPhone.
mom has.
My mom has an
Okay.
iPhone.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
mine too.
Good
Okay.
My
question.
Just making
grandparents
sure.
have an iPhone. Like everyone's on the
okay.
same.
Just wanted to do
Okay.
a sample.
So yes, we
Everyone and their mother.
comments. Yeah, let's hear about this one.
I mean, the thing I do appreciate about Notification Center is a lot of these things have been hard to get to previously in the iPhone. I mean, like turning your Bluetooth off and on should be as easy as it will be
Are
with
you
this.
talking about Control Center or Notification
That's
Center?
Notification Center and my Control Center. Sorry, they're both
Okay.
on my screen.
I was like,
Control
we haven't moved
Center.
there yet.
Sorry, Control Center.
Okay.
Yeah, is that I mean a lot of those things were harder to get to in the past. Apple doesn't have a lot of physical buttons on their devices, so this way you can get to some things.
I guess it was necessary, and
Yeah, I mean, because on the iPad previously, if you pulled up the multitask bar, you swiped once, you've got both volume control and brightness. But on the iPhone, you only have volume control, so this way you have both at least.
I thought it was funny. I don't remember who said it earlier when we were talking, when we were filming Geeks Corner, that they have all of like the most popular apps are now becoming functions that are just on the iPhone. And so you've got your flashlight, you've got your camera that looks strangely enough like Instagram, and the calculator. And I don't remember what's the fourth one. Is it
Compass. No, clock.
clock, compass?
Clock.
One of those things.
Yes.
And I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. Any other thing on Control Center?
I mean, the cool thing is, I think Apple had some inconsistencies previously with layering of things. So, I mean, you had the linen background. If you opened a folder, it pulled away your screen. You had a linen background. And then if you pulled down Notification Center on what's supposed to be a front layer, it was also a
So
linen.
the cohesiveness
Yeah,
is much
so
better.
I think the layering is very much intentional now. I mean, everything is really just kind of a front layer of glass that's going on top of your home screen.
Okay.
And then you have backgrounds behind your app. So I
So
think
quickly down the line, better or worse? Go.
Definitely better.
definitely better.
Better.
Different.
Okay, so for the
think
most part,
different.
we've got an endorsement of the Control Center. Moving on to the Notification Center really fast. Anything that jumps out to you?
I would like to springboard this one.
I would like to hear your.
To me, it looks strangely like Google Now. I think is what it was called. They released this for the Android device, and it had that functionality. For those of you who don't know, it appears that from your lock screen, I think, you can see like here are your next couple calendar events. Here's like what the traffic looks like on the way, the weather report at the location, things like that. And I believe Google developed a very similar technology for the Android devices.
Apparently couldn't sell it.
That couldn't sell it, and apparently it was really harmful for the battery life. Like it
Okay.
really made the battery life suffer. But again, we have the same kind of thing like with Microsoft, where there's two technologies coming out really close to each other, and one's Apple and one was first. So
Actually,
Go
back
ahead.
in the day, I had a Dell Axiom, the little handheld, and it had a Windows CE had an Outlook page that was Outlook Today, and it had kind of the same idea. So I mean,
Yeah.
this goes back 10
Okay,
years.
so it's nothing
It's
new.
nothing new.
Do we like it? Do we dislike it?
I like
Chris-
it. It's. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Chris had his hand
No,
up.
I just I think that Notification Center is actually still behind Android a little bit.
Okay.
I think that Google Now, I don't think people have really grasped the usefulness of it, because it actually is really neat to tell you what's coming up, and not only what's coming up, but how long it's going to take you to get there, and other things about your life that
I do like
when
that
when
aspect.
data gets in there, it actually becomes a whole lot more useful, which I think Apple's still trying to catch up a little bit with that. Google's the data company, so Apple obviously doesn't have that luxury.
That wealth
but-
of information that they're constantly collecting. You were going to say something, Tyler.
So,
It's true, right?
yeah.
The little car going down the street and the satellites.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Those creepy soccer cars, yeah. Well, anyway, Notification Center pretty much to me just looks like they just put a new skin over it. Like I see a lot of the same things in it. They've just updated the look of it. But one thing they have added, the animation will go back. It gives a summary of what your day looks like at the
Mine's
moment.
not
Like on the
animated.
screenshot, it says
Mine's got
today
it.
is mostly sunny. Currently it's 70 degrees, which is not right now. But it also tells you when your next appointment is. Like, hey, you need to leave in 49 minutes to take Marty to the vet.
Very
Do
important.
you like it?
I do like it. I mean, your initial, yeah, but
I do like it.
I like it. Still got a ways to go.
I like it, but I'm not sold on it because it's not visually appealing like the other things are. Like that does not make me want to look at it. So I'm on the fence on that one. Multitasking. First explain it and then talk about it if you would.
Can we just show the video of it, like
No.
on here? No videos.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I don't care.
Fine, you get to
Actually,
figure it out
do you want
yourself.
me to? Because my camera's a little bit closer.
Yeah, let me zoom in on it for you.
Thank you.
And then just tap the phone on there, and
Can you tap?
tap the phone on your tablet.
Oh, I think it's.
we'll
doing
tap it again. There you go. There you go.
Yep,
So
see
that's
there, it's
the
moving.
new multitasking. It'll do it itself.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
just.
it's not actually working,
Okay, so
but-
that's the multitasking
It's a video.
thing. Talk about it. Explain it to somebody.
Okay, this is what I was referring to when I brought up the Palm phone OS thing where they had, I forget the exact name, it was like cards or something is what they called it. And it looks a lot like that. A lot of operating systems have been taking that into effect, so that's like one thing Palm did correctly. Just, I don't know what else they did wrong, but it looks identical to that, and I actually really like it because I like being able to see what's on my apps before, while I'm searching through like multitask area. Like sometimes I'll have an app open, I'm looking for a specific thing, and I'll forget which part it was in. But with that, at least I can see a little preview of what is on there, so I don't have to
Cool.
drag through everything.
Chris, did you have something on?
Yeah, I think we don't really know yet how multitasking is going to improve the iPhone user experience. It's going to rely a lot on developers to implement the APIs that Apple's releasing and have apps update in the background and things like that. I like the being able to easily see what your app is doing and what content is on there. That's great. But they announced today that this is true multitasking, which previously it was just like audio could be in the background. But
How
now
much is
all
that going
apps-
to change battery life? Do you
Don't
think?
know
They
yet.
don't. They said that they've been able to do it with good battery life, but I'm not sure I trust it.
That's
So-
kind of my thought. Is yeah, they say they don't know, but does that just because they don't like the answer?
My feeling is
Maybe.
typically what Apple will do is they'll show, hey, look, here's this new operating system. It's great. It has all these cool things. It'll run pretty well on the current phone. The next one will run amazingly on. So I think a lot of the multitasking features, they're going to run fine on other things, might hurt your battery life. But the new phone will really take advantage of, I mean, they haven't talked about the new phone at all, so I'm speculating, but
I would like to say what I like about multitasking is not the multitasking aspect of it, but how easy it is to exit apps. Because on my phone, there's this little tiny button with a minus sign in it, and you have to tap it right on it. And if you miss, then you exit out of the ability to exit the apps, and now you're going into the app that you wanted to close. So if you're trying to
Yeah.
close a bunch of apps, but this looks like a very easy, just swipe it off your screen and it's gone. So it'll be easier to not have a bunch of apps running.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're just going to open up Facebook and then put it away, you could just swipe it off your screen.
And I read this on Twitter earlier, and I've tried it out myself, but you can close apps like with multi-touch. So there's like 3 of them on the screen. You use 3 fingers on different apps and push them off, and you just close 3 apps at the same
Okay, I
time.
like that. I like that. Anybody
Mind
else?
blown when I found it.
Go ahead, Matt.
What I do like is that they've now separated kind of some of the like the music player that's now in Control Center away from the multitasking bar, so that you're kind of doing separate things that are really clearly separate.
They've organized a bit better.
Yeah.
That's a really good segue into the iTunes Radio.
Mm-hmm.
iTunes Radio is basically
Pandora.
Pandora for iTunes, right?
Exactly what it is. I was using it earlier today.
I'm a little bit disappointed by this because I was hoping it would be Spotify for iTunes.
That's what I was.
Because I
hoping.
wanted to be able to get the albums, basically do that monthly rental, whatever. I'd be willing to pay a little bit more for that, or what Spotify is, because I feel like it'd be better because we get Beatles and stuff. But it's just Pandora. Is that right?
Yeah. Like
Anybody else disappointed by this?
I think the nice thing is that there are less limitations. I mean, because with Pandora you only get so many skips per hour and all those things, whereas this doesn't seem to have those limitations.
There are limitations. Like I don't know the exact number, but I know like after a while they won't let you skip. But the cool thing is it's free with ads, and if you have iTunes Match, which a lot of people do, there are no ads, which is a really nice thing because I have iTunes Match. I like it, so I don't have to keep music everywhere. It's just in the cloud.
And iTunes Match is what, $24.99 a year?
$25,
Something like that, yeah.
What? Oh, do you have
Still
more?
want more.
I,
Go ahead, John.
What I like about it is that iTunes is one of those apps on the iPhone that you're stuck with. It's standard on the phone. You can't really delete it. Am I right? Which makes a lot of sense. But I simply do not keep music on my phone. It takes up a lot of space that I want to use for pictures and other apps and things like that. So this is functionality now in this app that I can use, and I don't feel like this is just a wasted space on my hard drive or whatever's in a phone. I don't know. Flash drive? What? Something. Memory. So, it's a way to use that app to listen to music, and that's, again, default functionality that's getting rid of the need for the Pandora app, for example.
True. They took a popular one and
it's literally just
going right at it.
Apple's version.
Do you have something to add, Chris?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Is that the true value to me for iTunes Radio is that it's built into the device.
Sure.
Apple controls the experience. It mutes itself when Siri comes on. All of these things that developers like Pandora could.
And it'll be
forget
quality.
About. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on to photos. Anything new, exciting about those that you thought?
So this is what I was going to get. Before we filmed Geeks Corner and we were planning this, I was going to ask for clarification, but they said wait until now, so now I get to do it. What I thought I heard is that other people can contribute to your photo stream, which I was wanting since I found out about photo streams. It's like, so if you're at an event or you're at Disneyland, all of a sudden everyone has to make their own photo stream in order to share their pictures, but now you can have one photo stream for the event, and you're like, hey, here's all of Austin, Texas, from all of our different phones. That would have been great last year, and it'll be
In
great
Orlando, yeah.
I don't think we'll have it in. We might have it in time for Orlando,
Yeah.
but definitely for the next one. So.
What I use it for is some friends and I we have a Dropbox folder full of like iPhone and iPad wallpaper. And when PhotoStream first came out, we're like, oh great, we don't need to use Dropbox anymore. We're just gonna throw them on there. We can contribute. Then we all quickly found out you can't do it. And then now, literally today, we got updated onto it, and we just have our iPhone wallpapers stuck in this app that we can all just contribute to, and it's perfect because like we don't have to worry about Dropbox downloading things. Like I don't need iPhone wallpapers on my computer. Like there's no point to it. Now it's just on my phone, and it's quite nice.
Cool.
I like that it's organizing the camera roll into events and
Yeah, that made
streams
sense
is what
to
they're
me
called,
also.
or
Moments.
collections. There we go.
Moments and
Moments.
collections.
It sounds so Disney. Moments.
It is. It's Disney Story.
There's some
yeah.
connections.
Yes.
But
Well,
keep
now
going.
Disney does have a story app, which is
Yeah.
cool. So it's kind of the same idea. But I mean, this way, so because I have a lot of times I'll be looking through events to find like pictures of my dog. So everyone wants to know what my dog looks like, and so there's a time when she was a puppy that I took a whole bunch of pictures. It'd be easy if I could have that in my camera roll. So,
Cool.
Cool.
AirDrop.
That's-
Oh, you have one more thing to add, Chris?
Well, I was gonna say it's actually eerily reminiscent of like 2 weeks ago when Android released or announced at Google I/O very similar functionality. Being able to share amongst your friends in the same photo stream and collections. All this stuff was just announced for Google or for Android. So very
it's
interesting.
neck and
that they're
neck.
both. Yeah.
See
both
who
very
wins this
similar.
one.
I'm glad it's
It's-
coming to iOS.
It's like how Ants and A Bug's Life came out at the same time from completely different companies,
Yep.
but
One of them was awesome, and one of them made you want to cry.
yeah.
AirDrop.
I like it. We tried it out earlier. It was
it worked?
Yeah, it worked once we got it working. It worked.
That helps.
That tends to be.
It's a beta. Things
Beta.
don't always work.
Okay.
But it's really cool. Like, you don't have to be on a Wi-Fi network. The requirement is you just Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, whatever. Like, if you're on Wi-Fi, it'll find the other phone, fine. Bluetooth, it'll pick it up if you're close to it. It creates like a sort of ad hoc network.
Cool.
You know what that is.
Anything else?
And it's cool.
Just quickly on it.
Going back to rendering old apps useless from the App Store, I think Bump is an app that did very similar things
Okay.
that is probably not as useful anymore.
Yeah.
Because AirDrop,
Yeah,
if
they're
you're
going to
all
knock it
happy-
out. And that's really what they're going to try to do with the camera, too, because they've got all of those filters now, and you can do
And-
square photos and panorama, and then the regular ones. Is that right?
In video.
Did I get them
Yeah.
all?
Yeah, you got it.
Mhm.
And video? See, I did my homework. And that's pretty much all the camera is, right? Do we need to cover that?
It's got
really
an updated
anymore?
UI. That's it. That's
It's party.
It's
I
pretty.
will throw in there, I like that you can now take square pictures,
Mhm.
if just for the fact that my mom was doing a project with her class at school of doing Father's Day cards and all of this, and we had to download an app to make all the pictures square to fit in the card, and if she was able to just take a square picture as opposed to have to crop it and edit it and
Or
all that
use
kind of stuff.
scissors.
Yeah, exactly, because scissors, it's so hard to cut through this phone. I've
Although
tried,
it's a school, so they probably have that.
That's
well.
true.
Then you lose a finger.
Mhm.
If you're lucky. Better than an arm.
But we digress.
So moving on to Safari.
It's
What's exciting about Safari? Anything?
It
I
has
felt
a-
The
like there was-
animals. I love the
I
animals.
thought there was more exciting about the operating system.
Well, I
but-
mean, part of this goes to the OS 10.9 part of the presentation where I talked about
the non-C line.
yes, non-C line Maverick.
I
They
loved
now
that
have we'll have keychain in iCloud.
Mhm.
So all of your passwords and
That's
credit
true. I
card
do
data
like
can
that
be in the
a
cloud,
lot.
and it will sync with Safari for iPhone.
Okay.
And-
One. Did you just say all your credit card data is going to be in the cloud?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought I heard, and I'm like, let's not skip past that part.
Always a good idea.
Yes, but what he showed today that it will require you have to remember your security code. So,
Right. I remember that.
I mean, again, another app that's getting possibly
Condensed.
depleted somewhat. One Password, which I
Yeah.
have loved for many a while now. But you have to sync it to Dropbox. It doesn't have any sort of cloud sync.
Mhm.
So there are some issues there.
It has
where-
iCloud sync.
well, no, but it doesn't work with. There's some app to desktop version issues.
Well, that's coming out later.
So what do you think
they're
about
gonna charge
Siri?
more for that. So
Not really.
Siri? Do we think about Siri?
she gets a new voice.
She
Yeah.
gets a new voice.
sounds
And you
more
have the option
velvety.
of male or female voices, and they're going to be. I don't know what countries it'll work in, but they announced America, obviously, or English, German, and
Francais.
I
French.
liked America.
French from America.
Cool. Anything else? Siri?
New
I-
functionality.
I'm not a huge fan of Siri. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but go
I
ahead.
was about to say, I think that the new voice sounds too human and makes us forget that this is the beginning of the robot apocalypse,
Wow.
as we're told in the Terminator films.
Yeah.
But
But I have
sorry,
my
Dave, I'm
axe
afraid I
in
can't
the
do that.
garage. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I use Siri all the time, so I'm glad it's getting more functionality and getting updates, because
What do you
Yeah.
use it for?
when I'm driving, like,
Okay.
I hit the button on my car and it
That
pops
explains a
up.
lot of text messages.
She needs to learn how to spell, or
Something.
Or he now.
no, I'm not going to a man. That'd be weird.
Word.
But I like the fact that it's getting better functionality. I frequently use it. Hey, show me the trailer for this movie, and it pops it up. Like, even if I'm
While he's driving.
not while I'm driving, not for that one.
Here's a hint: if it ever asks, "Would you like to play a game of chess?" Just shut off your device immediately. Don't give it access codes to any military weapons.
Wait, I wasn't supposed to do.
Chris, did you have something to add?
Oh, I was just gonna add that the new voice is nice. I'm hoping that the speech recognition's a little better. 'Cause
Yeah.
I always have trouble with it
Me
getting
too.
to recognize me and then get the data that I'm requesting. So,
And I don't
a
get
nice
why I
voice.
end up feeling like an idiot.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
same here.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I
Finishes that
did
map.
notice in the commercial, they had the girl talking to it, and she held her phone up to her face, which most people who are using Siri like try and do it from here. So maybe
then you
that.
can do this,
maybe
and
you
then
need
the
to do-
police can see you're on your phone easier, and you can get pulled
Well,
over.
not well,
That's
but then I mean
fantastic.
this sort of segues into something that's not on the list of features.
Mhm.
In 2014, we are getting iPhone in the car, integration with new cars.
Yeah.
So
Ah.
you'll be Siriing in your car.
Hopefully that helps.
Hopefully.
So let's go on that topic for a second, since it's also not on our list. But one of my favorite things about this is, hey, I'm sorry. Oh, I took over.
Go ahead.
Hi, Jack.
Don't worry, I can just turn off your microphone. But go ahead.
I have the button. No.
It won't matter.
Okay.
I'm
Um,
editing.
How are you editing this part?
Oh, you just wait and see.
Oh no.
We can do some
Anyway.
ADR. Anyway, what do you want to talk about? Something with the car?
Yeah. So anyway, cars that have like a screen in it for like their built-in navigation, whatever. If you plug your phone into it, that cars that support it, it'll actually take the Apple Map and duplicate it onto the
Yeah,
car's
that looks-
display.
That did look cool.
And it basically kind of copies what the old iPod out thing was, where it'd like copy the interface of the iPod and throw it up on your car. But now it's like built for the car.
Text messages, all
Yeah,
that stuff.
all
shows
that
up.
will pop
It's
up.
less
in there.
messy.
Yeah, it's more elegant.
It looked like the
Until you
text
run into
messages-
another car while you're looking at it, and then it's like,
Technicalities.
Technically.
Well, it's supposed to be.
Well, it's going to be
Siri
able to
without
drive
voice.
itself soon anyway, because, whatever.
Siri
That's
Drive.
the other
It's
company,
like
but
Siri
whatever.
no looking.
So the mail. What do you think about mail?
It's just email.
It's just
It's a new. Well, one thing I was kind of cool though is you can actually set up like a folder that will just show you unread messages.
Yeah.
So you were telling me earlier how you have a horrible time of keeping like track of all your
I'm
emails.
horribly unorganized with my
Yeah.
email.
This thing I think would help you. All your unread email can
Yeah.
be in one folder. The second you read it, it pops out of that folder. So now you can hopefully clear your inbox. Because I like to keep mine really clean, and it'll help. I'm very organized with email for
I
some
like it
reason.
in theory.
Say what?
Spectrum.
I like it in theory.
Yeah. We'll see how it actually works.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
Siri was the last topic.
Weather.
It's like a window to the outside.
Mm-hmm.
It shows what the.
Anything
looks
really
like.
excite you about the weather?
Can you
It shows
imagine?
humidity now, which is cool. You don't have to ask it.
Can't
going
you
to-
just
I
look
was
out the window
kinda
at the weather?
hoping we were gonna just zoom on by the weather.
Well, we're
but,
going to
you know.
Florida next month, and it's
How
going to
about-
be 98%.
How about
humidity the whole time we're there.
messages?
Messages.
Anything exciting about messages?
New skin looks nice, cool animations to it. There's nothing too
Mhm.
different about it. It just looks nice.
We
Hopefully
covered
it
UI
works
already,
better.
so if it's just
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much covered.
yeah.
So just really quickly, let's go down. Maybe come down this way. Jony Ive can go first.
Yeah.
What do you like most about iOS 7, and what do you like least about iOS 7?
I do actually really like the notification sender of, hey, you should leave in 30 minutes to get there on time. I like that.
What do you
And
hate?
least?
Oh, and what do I like least?
Yes.
What was
the
the
notification center. That's great.
yeah right?
Tells
No,
you how much time you have to leave.
I think least I like the car integration. That actually kind of scares me a little bit now that I hear about it.
Okay. Cool.
So my
You're up,
turn? All right.
Tyler.
What I like the most is I like how they updated the UI completely, but still kept the same functionality. Like things are basically in the same spot. They just look different, and I didn't have to really relearn how to use the operating system. Like it was already the same.
It's the next step.
It's just the next step, yeah. And the only thing that I really have to get used to is the control center, because that's just weird. I keep trying to double tap to the home button to get to things when I just have to go like that. What I hate is a lot of the
Wow, you
icons.
said hate.
Oh, what I dislike. Actually, no hate. The Safari icon is horrible. But
Which one is that?
that one.
Yeah, I
yeah.
actually agree with you.
It's-
The Safari icon is an
White.
eyesore.
It's terrible. Like I said earlier, is I feel like they spend a lot of time in certain areas, but they're just now getting to other parts. And I hope the icons are one of the parts they're just getting to, because
But do you think, just to jump in on this, do you think that's trying to be simplistic and make it look flatter? Because it really is flat looking.
yes, but I just feel like it's not finished. Like I don't.
I agree completely. I'm just wondering if that was an intentional choice they made.
They
or
just
if
need a
ran
little
out of
spot
time.
that's spinning it
Because
every
it
now
kind of
and
looks intentional to me.
I agree it does, but I'm just hoping there was kind of like a, hey, we got to make this look pretty for the
So Apple, we'd love you to change that, please,
please
for Tyler,
for me, for the kids.
because he loves Apple, and it's like taking away Santa Claus. I don't
But
know.
well, I wasn't finished.
Oh, go ahead. Finish up.
But I lost my train of thought. So we're just gonna move on.
Icons.
Actually, icons. I don't know what I was gonna say.
It's your least favorite thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got both. What
I
you
just-
liked and what you disliked.
that's it.
All right.
So I'll start with my least favorite thing.
Okay.
On a positive note. I could take or leave iTunes Radio. I'm not terribly excited about it.
I agree.
That's not how I discover music. But I think, for iOS, it feels like it functions like an Apple product should. It's making things easier, and Apple always takes the time to figure things out the way that ends up being the most intuitive and most user friendly instead of just launching a feature because they can. I just feel like it doesn't quite feel like iOS yet. It doesn't feel like an Apple product. It just doesn't have. I mean, I'm a font person and I don't love the font, but
You mentioned that.
yes,
Yeah.
You don't like Helvetica?
Helvetica Neue Ultralight or whatever.
You don't
it
like
is.
Comic Sans?
No.
Don't go there.
We're not going there with
It's
comics.
just what's
But,
on his computer. And his
It just the layering. I mean, idea is very much an Apple way of doing things, but it doesn't quite. It's just not quite there. It just doesn't
Okay.
feel like Apple.
good thing they have a few months, huh?
Yes.
My favorite thing is that their UI redesign is progress forward. I feel like the last two versions have been pretty stagnant from a UI perspective, and Android and Windows have been surpassing them. And definitely the dropping of skeuomorphic design, where things look exactly like they would in the real world. I don't think design works well that way. But the thing I dislike the most is Control Center. I think that they're missing the boat from a usability perspective here. There's just way too many options, too many
Yeah,
sliders.
I like the idea of it, but I don't know that I like the
I love
execution.
exactly. I love the quick access to some of these functionality,
Mhm.
but you've got app launchers next to switches and sliders all over the place.
Yeah.
I think that this has has room to grow and iterate something a little better.
And following up on that, I think I like it because it feels like something I could have imagined Steve Jobs selling us. Like I could imagine him saying, "Oh, and then there's this, and you can do this and that and whatever." And it just seemed like it was something that he would actually have come up with. Whereas I think some of the things the last year or two haven't been as much and didn't have that feel of like stylistically, this makes sense to me. And I really like that. The notification center, I'm not sold on at all. That would probably be my least favorite thing. But I think they're headed in the right direction. I like that it feels like Apple, and that's as much or more important than anything else. Because even the control center, it's confusing and it's a little bit weird. But I can imagine flipping it open with my thumb and being like, okay, do it. You know, it kind of makes a little bit of sense. So that's my thoughts on the matter. Just ending it really quickly. Does anybody have any final thoughts on this beyond what I just said?
No.
I summed it up okay.
Yeah.
Matt's got some.
I'm gonna guess a date. October 25th. It's a Friday.
Oh, okay, thank
at the end
you.
of October.
That's our guess.
Yeah, maybe the next iPhone 25th and iOS the 18th the week before.
Okay.
They like to do that. But I think it's gonna be
Okay, so you all heard this here.
October
He
25th.
made a guess,
Yeah.
and that's great. So you got a final thought?
I do
Johnny?
have one final thought, and I think we mentioned this, but I don't think we really examined what this is going to mean for the developers of those apps that are
Mhm.
now being becoming obsolete because of this operating
Yeah.
system. You know, what's going to happen to their revenue model. So if you are or know one of those app developers or are an aspiring app developer, you know, is this like raising the stakes and now you have to bring a better game to the app store, or what's going on?
Yeah, who's going to download the Flashlight app now?
I have the Flashlight app on my phone, and now I don't
But
need it.
after this, you're not going to need it. So
No.
yeah, I think that is about all the time we have for tonight. So thank you for watching, and we will see you around the other corner.